Hi, this is Rebecca Mack, and I am the grant manager at the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. This is a presentation related to quarterly reporting for the financial status report for grant year, fiscal year 2021. The quarterly reports are due the end of the month post the quarter. So the October through December reporting is due in the month of January, and then April, July, and at the close of the grant year in October. You find the quarterly reports on our website at michiganidc.gov. This would be the front page of the website for the Indigent Defense Commission. At the Grants tab, you will see a lot of information related to current and past grant awards, related to the fiscal year awarding. And then we have a section related to current year reporting. For 2021, we have the template that's here that you would use to access this Excel document, as well as other information related to recorded webinars and our grant manual. The quarterly report form is somewhat unchanged for 2021. It's been updated for the current year dates, but we'll be asking you to complete the form and related to all the heading information for who you are in terms of what your indigent defense system is, what funding units you're representing, if it's more than one, the current year grant number, and the period for the grant contract for this year would be October 1st of 2020 through September 30th of 2021. What report you're submitting. So the one for this month would be the first quarter from the period October 1st through December 31st as identified as 9A on line 17 on this report. And then we're asking you to report from the face of your contract what you have been awarded from the MIDC in terms of what the amount of state funds, what your local share is, and if you are providing any additional funding over and above your local share. These items are also found on the face of your contract. So the high-level categories, again, unchanged from previous year's reporting, including the salaries and fringe if you have personnel that are being charged to this grant, and so forth related to all those categories. We again are asking for backup documentation related to your reporting for these expenditures in terms of payroll documentation for salaries and fringes, whether it's a report from your system or some other documentation that gets at, fringe benefit factors, rates, or set amounts. If you've got experts and investigators that you have charged to this grant for any of the quarters, we need invoices related to those payments. Any other categories, whether they were equipment or travel for training or things like that, or supplies purchased during the quarter, again, we would need invoices for backup documentation related to the reporting of those expenses. The lines 23 through 26 or 25 on the report, sections 10 and 11, refer to first what was advanced to you during the period of this reporting, and then in question 11, what your certified local share is and what you have transferred into the fund for the report. Again, be aware that there is no reporting requirement no requirement that you advance your funding into the MIDC fund at the local level, the certified local share, at any set time during the period. We're just looking to track this to match it to what you will be also reporting to us as backup documentation, which is a printout of your general ledger for the local MIDC fund. If it is labeled 260 or some other number in your local chart of accounts, again, part of the reporting is this general ledger, and this is just asking you to report on the FSR what you did record in the general ledger if anything related to transfers into the fund for any component of local share for this period. Back to the state grant advancements, per our contract for fiscal year 21, upon execution of the contract within a short amount of time, I believe it was in the neighborhood of about 2 weeks or so upon execution of the contracts, we would have advanced the full 50% of the state grant amount to you, so that if you were expecting as part of the contract that $100,000 was the amount that the state was advancing on top of your local component of the local share, we would have sent you payment or advancement of $50,000. This is a slight difference than what we did in fiscal year 20. Contract provisions were slightly altered in 21 in that we have systems per our statutory requirement that need to report to us by October 31st of each grant year that had just closed, what their unexpended balance is. Money that we advanced you in that grant year that was unencumbered, unexpended during the grant year that rolls forward for availability for funding that next future grant year. Anyone that had reported an unexpended balance in grant year 20 had that unexpended balance, so funds that you already had deposited in your local fund, reducing the 50% advancement in the new year contract. This has been slightly changed in that the state will be advancing the full 50% of the grant year that we're in this year. So you would have received the full amount of the 50% calculation. But in the contract, it identifies that the future payments, of which we have 3 in total in the grant year, the 50% upon execution, 25% within the month of May, and an additional 25% in final payment in the month of August. The contract identifies that these 2 subsequent payments in May and August will be reduced by your reporting of your unexpended balance. What's important here on this document for the financial status report is your authorizing signature, that you are certifying that what you're reporting here is correct and that you are complying with the MIDC's requirements related to the reporting, what's identified in your contract. You're providing the adequate backup documentation related to invoices, as well as a printout of the general ledger that reflects what you are reporting here on this form. If you were looking to adjust this budget in that you need to alter your plan for your cost analysis spending, we provide a tab here at the bottom, contract adjustment, that will come in at the quarter with this financial status report. This form is asking you to explain what you are looking to adjust in your budget, either that it's a provision in your budget that you are looking to shift funds into a new category, or you didn't ask for enough funding in a certain category and we're looking to shift within. This is not a process that increases any of the grant funding. It is only a process that identifies a shift within the funding that's already been awarded to your system and asking you to complete the information related to who you are. In box 5, it's identifying if you're looking to change some aspect of your compliance plan. You're identifying to change a personnel, that if you had a person that had separated and you're now identifying a new person in that position, or if you're just looking to revise your budget. The regional manager that represents your system should be aware of what you are looking to do here in this contract adjustment, and it will be involved in the approval process in collaboration with myself, the grant manager for the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. Box 7 is asking you just to elaborate and explain what the need is. And then below in section 8, we are asking for you to identify where you're asking for the change in funds if this budget or contract adjustment requests a shifting within your budget to accommodate your future needs. Again, we're asking for execution by you of this in the proper way that you are identifying. It will not be processed unless all the instructions have been completed in terms of requesting the need along with the shifting of the funds if required. And your signature and authorization here is also important. The third tab of this form identifies the attorneys that are working in your system, along with the number of assignments related to this reporting period and what has been paid out to these attorneys. Of note, we do not ask on the FSR for you to supply, and in the contract as well, the invoices that you are paying to contract attorneys, because they are the most voluminous aspect of the system reporting here. Some systems have hundreds of attorneys that work, and a lot of invoices that are paid depending on your frequency of advancing funds for the work in the system. So to support the expenditures in the contract attorney line, we ask you to just list the attorneys who have been paid in the system, their license number, along with what you have paid them for this quarter. Up on the screen, there is a copy of an example of an MIDC contract. And I just wanted to bring attention to the face of the contract that is identifying the contract period and the amounts in terms of what your budget is, along with the state grant contribution and what the local share is. The local share for this grant year, it has been enhanced by the CPI factor and is part of the budget, your total budget. So the funding for the local share, along with the state grant, are the two main components that fund the entire budget or cost analysis for your system. The contract itself identifies your statement of work, which is your compliance plan. But I wanted to bring to attention the payment schedule here, as mentioned earlier, that we do the initial advance of 50% of the state grant amount. So the amount that's listed in your contract reflects the face of the contract under the state grant amount. And the MIDC advances 50% of the state funds upon execution of the contract. All systems that have a contract with the MIDC should have received this funding by now, and it would be deposited into your 260 fund and would be identified as a printout of the general ledger for that fund that will support the FSR submitted for this quarter. The dates, again, May 15th and August 14th for the two subsequent payments. And again, identifying that in the first paragraph here on what's shown on your screen, that the advancement is reduced for the second and third quarter payments equally by what you have reported and certified as your unexpended balance for the previous year. We are now into the third year of grant reporting for the MIDC. We are changing things dramatically going forward into the fourth year, in that we will be having a new automated grant system called eGrams that will be rolling out in April of 2021, initially for the application. So as program managers and the financial components of your system, you will need to be aware of this change coming. We will be supplying information when the system will be open, but more importantly, we will be conducting training. The financial component going into the application would be completing the cost analysis. And then post-contract training will involve these FSRs being automated in the future. So stay tuned for news to come from the MIDC related to the rollout of eGrams and how things will look different next year. If you have any questions related to what we've reported here in this tutorial, or the financial status reports, or backup documentation, or the 260 fund or the general ledger related to it, please contact your regional manager or me, Rebecca Mack, the grant manager, at our website. Our email addresses and contact information is there at michiganidc.gov. And thank you.